Hi everybody, welcome back. And now, as you have already done some of the previous exercises on the study guides, okay, we're going to take a look at this first grammar section of Unit 4. Remember from the last video when we were talking about the actions we take and the consequences that may or might happen when we take those actions. Well, all the time we're talking about actions and consequences, we are talking about possible situations or hypothetical situations. That means that we're talking about something that is not yet real, but these are things that are on our imagination, right? So, before, in previous books, you have already taken a look at the first and second conditionals. Do you remember what a conditional is? So, to refresh your mind on conditionals, especially the first and the second, I want you to take a look at this first exercise here from the grammar section. Oh, remember, for those who have their books with them, we're working on page 40, okay? So, let's take a closer look. Here, what we have, in the first exercise, you have to complete the sentences from the quiz on page 39 with the correct forms of the verbs. Later on, we're going to match them with the parts of the rule, okay? So, sentences 1 and 2 can be found on the quiz. Remember the quiz, the one with the questions, we also worked with it on the last video. So, what I want you to do now, I want you to pause this video here, go back to the quiz, try to identify where these two sentences here are over there, and then complete them accordingly, okay? So, you have these spaces here to complete. Is that good? So again, pause the video, go back to the quiz, complete the sentences according to the sentences you find there. Good? And later come back here for us to check. Good? Go on. Alright, could you find the sentences? Could you identify them in the quiz? So remember, we have the questions over here. So, what would you do if you heard the text message, you found $100 in cash, you noticed your teacher, you broke, okay? So if you went back there, you should have completed those two sentences. So let's try to do this now together. So, what? Here is would you do if you broke your mom's vase while playing soccer? What would you do? Or actually, have you ever done something like that? I have in my life, and the experience wasn't that fine, okay? Nice. So, number 2 here we have, if you always tell the truth, people will trust you, right? So, these are sentences that we can come back here and find. So, here, number 4, what would you do if you broke your mom's vase while playing soccer in the house? Okay. And the other one, the truth. Where is it? Okay, here. If you always tell the truth, people will trust you. Okay? So, these two sentences here, they are examples of the first and the second condition. Going back there, we have the rule here that we have to complete, right? So, here we have the rule. The first sentence says, we use the first conditional to talk about real situations and their consequences. We form it with an if plus the present simple, and the other part is future will with will clause, right? So, analyzing these two sentences here, 1 and 2, which one is an example of the first conditional? Which one presents this structure here? If plus the present simple, and then later future with will clause. That's number 2, right? Because here we have, if you always tell the truth, so the if plus the present simple, people will trust you later in the future, and this is called a future clause, right? So here we have to complete the rule with number 2. Then the second sentence in the rule says, we use the second conditional to talk about hypothetical or very unlikely situations and their outcomes, their consequences, okay? And we form it with if plus the past simple, and the next part is a would clause, right? So here, this is number 1, okay? Here we have an inversion, right? Remember that we can invert the sentence. We don't need to start the sentence with if. We can start with the other part, right? So here we have, what would you do? So the would clause, if you broke the past simple of the verb break. So how to complete the rule? Let's take a look here. So we have the rule. We use the first conditional to talk about real situations and their consequences, and we form it with an if plus present simple and the future will clause. All right? And later we use second conditional to talk about hypothetical or very unlikely situations and their outcomes. We form it with if plus past simple and a would clause. That's why the rule must be completed with 2 here. If you always tell the truth, people will trust you. And number 1 in the second here in the rule, because it's what would you do if you broke your mom's vase? Alright, so we talk about first conditional and second conditional. Okay? Now, what we have to do to practice a little bit more about this and refresh even more our minds, I want you to go to this exercise here, right? So, here we have complete the conditional sentences with the correct forms of the verbs. Think carefully about whether each one is a first or second conditional. So remember, now we're either going to use the first or the second conditional. No other options, right? So here we have the text. What should I do? Inside the text we have the blanks and the verbs. Very important, guys. Here we have a not be. So it means we need to use the verb to be in the negative form. Okay? So I want you to pause the video now and try to complete the text using the first or the second condition. Okay? Later, come back over here and then we are going to do this exercise together. Right? Go on. So, how was that? Was it too difficult? I hope not. Remember, this is a review. You have already studied these 2 topics, the first and the second conditionals before. Okay? So, let's try to complete the sentences together now. Let's see. What should I do? So, why is Jan so mean to me? If Jan weren't so mean to me, I would want, oops, I forgot to change. I would want to invite her to my party. Okay? The problem, here, very important, guys. Can you remember why we use were and not was over here? That's a very good and tricky question, okay? Remember, verb to be in the past, when we are talking about he, she, and it, is was, right? So if the sentence was an affirmative sentence, a clause, as we say, we would say, Jan wasn't so mean to me. But then we are indicating, we're stating a fact, right? Here, we're not stating a fact. We are talking about a hypothetical situation, something that is not true. So, all the time we have if in the verb, especially the verb to be, we need to use this verb in the past participle. And the past participle of the verb to be is not was or wasn't, okay, in the negative. We always need to use were, the plural one. Here it doesn't mean plural. It means we're using the past participle, right? For those who know Beyonce and her songs, there's a song whose the title is If I Were a Boy, right? Were here is not indicating plural because it's I, but we have this if in the beginning that makes the sentence, the verb, change its form. Okay? Good? Very important to refresh. Then, let's continue. The problem is, she's so popular. If she didn't have so many friends, nobody would care if she was at my party or not. I have to invite her. If I don't invite her, if I don't invite Jan to my party, nobody will come to it. Then later we have, maybe I shouldn't have a party, but if I don't have a party, I won't get any presents, and I want presents. Why are birthdays always so hard? If it weren't, remember the weren't? We're using it, but we have if here, so we need to say weren't. If it weren't my birthday next week, my life wouldn't be so complicated. If I knew what to do, I would do it. But I don't. Now you might be asking or thinking, okay, yeah, for this guy, this is very easy to do, but I don't understand. How do I choose? How do I imagine the situation if it's in the past or in the present? If I am talking about something that is almost impossible to happen or something that is a present situation, talking about the possible outcome in the future, right? All those questions are very natural at this stage. I am going to check here the answers and then I'm going to think about the answers later. All right, so let's check first. Oops, I forgot the verbs. That's why. Let's try again over here. Yeah, here is would want. She's so popular. If she didn't have, we need to put the have, right? Nobody would care. Now I hope it's okay. Yeah, now it's fine. Good. Could you get close to these answers? If you got close to these answers, we are already in a very good pathway, right? So let's see why. First or second conditions, okay? So here we have, why is Jan so mean to me? So here we're talking about a present situation. After that, we are talking, the girl here probably is saying that, is thinking about a different situation, a hypothesis about the present. So she is saying, if Jen weren't so mean to me, so it means that normally Jen is mean to her, I would want to invite her to my party, right? So that's why we have the simple past here and the would clause over here. Now we continue. The problem is she is so popular. So if she didn't have so many friends, so she's imagined that if Jen didn't have so many friends, but the truth, the real world tells us that Jen has a lot of friends. That's why she's imagined if she didn't have, okay? Nobody would care. So if she didn't have, nobody would care. But she has a lot of friends, so they care about her. Okay? Then later, I have to invite her. If I don't invite, so now I'm talking about the present possibility, thinking in the future consequence, right? So if I don't invite her now, nobody in the future will come to my party, okay? Then later we continue. Maybe I shouldn't have a party, but if I don't have a party, so if in this moment, in the present, I don't have a party, in the future, she won't get any presents, okay? And then she continues. If it weren't my birthday next week, so it is her birthday next week, her life wouldn't be so complicated. So, but her birthday is next week and her life is complicated because of this Jan situation, right? And then finally, if I knew what to do, right? So it means that I don't know what to do, or she doesn't know what to do, I would do it. So now she would do something, but she doesn't know what to do right now, okay? So just to remember, in the rule we say that we use the first conditional to talk about real situations and their consequences. And we use the second conditional to talk about hypothetical or very unlikely situations and their outcomes. Okay, guys? I hope you could refresh your minds. And now, finally, for us to round up this section here, this grammar section over here, we have this final exercise to do together. Okay, so here we're talking about time conjunctions. Do you remember what a conjunction means? So conjunction has something very similar to Portuguese, which means to link things, to get things together, right? So these are words that help us connect ideas or connect words one to another. Okay, so what do you have to do here? You have to complete the sentences with the words, and we have the words if, until, when, and as soon as, right? And you have 4 sentences, so it means that one word, one sentence. They don't repeat each other, okay? So now, pause the video and complete the sentences 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the words if, until, when, and as soon as. Then come back over here for us to check. Alright, so was it difficult? I hope not. Okay, so let's check this together. Number 1, I don't know where he is, but I'll tell him I see him. So here we're talking about a hypothesis. So very probably we're going to use if. Read the sentence with me. I don't know where he is, but I'll tell him if I see him. If I don't see him, I don't know. I can tell him. Okay? 2. I'm meeting him later. So now we have something really serious, very scheduled. Remember, we use the present continuous to talk about a future situation that is very, almost 100% sure that it's going to happen, right? So I'm meeting him later, so I'll tell him when I see him, okay? 3, it's really important. I'm going to tell him as soon as I see him, as soon as this gives this idea of something that is very urgent. I really need to do something right now, okay? And finally, number 4, I work until he arrives, and then I will stop. So when he arrives, I stop working, okay? Let's check our answers. Well done, guys. Very good. Okay. If you found this exercise very difficult, I'd suggest you try to understand the meaning of these expressions here. And maybe here even Portuguese might help you. Okay. So if you look up for the definition of these words in Portuguese, it might help you if you found this exercise just too difficult. Okay. Now, finally, I have a challenge for you, okay? So, if you want to practice even more this first and second conditionals, okay? If you want to go further with your studies, you can do the following. Here on exercise number 4, we have the following. Complete the sentences so that they are true for you. And then you have to tell a partner. So what you can do if you want to practice even more, you can complete sentences 1, 2, 3, and 4 according to yourselves, okay, so related to you. So number 1, maybe not so good at this moment, right? Because probably you are at home, but number 1 is, as soon as I get home tonight, what can you do? Or what will you do? And then we have number 2. If the weather is good this weekend, when I'm 18, and 4, I'm going to save all my money until, okay? Then what you can do later, you can record these messages, audio messages on WhatsApp, for example, and you can send them, exchange them with classmates and see if your plans for the future are similar or very different. Okay, so here's the challenge. You accept if you want. All right, guys. Hope you have enjoyed this video as well. We'll come back later for some more studies on Unit 4. Bye.